Let's pray. Dear God, may the words of our mouths and the meditation of all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord our God and our Redeemer. Amen. Well, you'll remember that we are in a program year-long theme of season of refreshing. And part of our season of refreshing here at Christ United Methodist Church is our capital campaign, Refreshing God's House. And I want to draw your attention to that. And be sure we're still, participation is trickling in, but we want to make sure we lift that up. But we are talking about refreshing. And today is All Saints Sunday. And it's the Sunday after All Saints Day, November 1st, that we celebrate the lives of the saints. Not just saints, famous saints, but saints, local saints. Saints that are just part of our circle, saints that are known to us. And when we say saints, we mean both saints who are alive on earth and saints who are alive in heaven. And we are all saints. That's what we celebrate. We are all saints, and we are all part of one church throughout the universe. And so today, you may notice that my prayer of preparation was a little bit different. Did anybody notice that? Well, that's because you're going to help me in a minute to preach the sermon. But we'll get to that in a second. So we are remembering the saints today, and particularly drawing attention to the saints that have been part of our lives and continue to be part of our lives. Those people that make our lives, as Jesus said in the Beatitudes, those people that are blessed in our lives, those people that we remember as blessed, those people that we remember as peacemakers, the people that we remember as generous, the people that we remember as poor in spirit, the people that we remember as meek, the people that we remember for their service and their generosity and their love and their kindness, the blessed people of our lives. And that's what I'm going to challenge you to do today. And so, I'm going to start in a minute. I'm going to tell you about a saint that's been important in my life, that's still alive. And then at the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to go around and play Donahue with, does that date me? Yeah. I'm going to go around and play Donahue with the microphone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to share about a saint from your life. It might be somebody who is alive yet today on earth, and it might be somebody who is alive still today in heaven, but someone who has refreshed you, who has influenced you, who has inspired you. The only rule is if it is somebody who is still alive and part of our community here, you cannot use their name. Because I don't have permission to do that. I don't want to embarrass anybody. I don't want us to start reading off a litany of people and then leave people out. So if they're part of the church triumphant, you can use their name, and we would want you to do so. But if they're still part of our church here, that you not do that. But you can describe them, and it wouldn't take us very long as we figured out when Becky was introducing Michelle. It doesn't take us very long to figure out who you're talking about anyway. So, but we have some deniability if we don't use names. So, but I'm going to start, and I'm going to do my Donahue thing. So I'm going to come out of the pulpit. But the saint who I want to remember today, and of course I'm like any of you, I have any number that I can mention, but the saint I want to remember today is somebody that many of you would know, Dave Shar, the former director of Camp Wesley Woods by Indianola. He was the director there from the early 80s, right up into the late 90s. I think he actually went a little bit into the 2000s. Anybody ever meet Dave Shar? Anybody ever know Dave Shar, director at Wesley Woods? Well, Dave was a loving and kind and gentle, hardworking man. He was just, never showy, never flashy, but he got the job done. He worked very hard. He loved his camp. He loved his kids. He loved his staff. And it was my privilege to work for Dave for 2 summers on summer staff, the summer of 98 and the summer of 99. Now, the summer of 99, I turned 23 years old, working at Wesley Woods, the oldest member of the summer staff. Also, I didn't have a car that summer, and so while many of the other staff would take off on the weekends or in the evenings if we weren't busy, I was stuck there. So I was older. I'd had some work experience, particularly some physical work experience that some of my colleagues didn't have, and suffice it to say, I had a little bit better work ethic than some of my younger colleagues. And so, and of course, Dave was, 11 o'clock at night, Dave's sweeping cabins, Dave's clearing trails. Dave's working. From the time he got out of, I'm not sure he slept. I never actually slept. I did see him sleep once. He did fall asleep one time in a meeting, but the only time I ever saw him sleep. But anyway, Dave's still alive and well, retired in the Keys, poor guy. Anyway, Dave would always come and grab me if he needed to sweep a cabin, if he needed to clear a trail, because like I said, I was around. I was kind of used to physical work more so than some of the other guys, and so he would come and grab me to sweep a cabin, clear a trail, whatever he was doing. And I mean, it's like 10 o'clock at night, right? He's grabbing me to go do this stuff, and it wasn't that work it wasn't even the work that he was concerned about that I do, because the conversation always turned this way. Dave would say to me, "Now, Brian, are you sure God's not calling you to be a pastor?" Brian, are you sure God's not calling you to be a pastor? And and after a summer of this, of course, by the end of the summer of 98, I had given in to that call and begun the candidacy process, and then worked for him again in the summer of 99. Of course, summer of 99, I had a car. So, but anyway. Dave was an important saint in my life, and Dave is just one of those reasons you just know that there's people in your lives that if they hadn't shown up when they did and did what they did, you wouldn't be where you are. And there are many of those, of course, in my story, but Dave is certainly one of them. That if not for Dave Sharp being where he was and doing what he did, I would not be where I am today. So Dave is one of the saints that I remember today. A living saint, a still alive saint. So I'm going to do my Donahue thing. I'm going to turn the handheld mic on. And so who wants to start? Okay.
My saint is Ellis Diamond. She was a person in Missouri, a town we lived in. And we lived in the Methodist parsonage next to the church. She'd been going there her whole life. She lived in the country, and she had 3 children, and her husband died young. So she walked to town to work. About 4 or 5 miles she walked. And she was old when I knew her. But if you missed church, she would bring a casserole the next day to see if you were ill, and encourage you to be good and try to make it to church the next week. She always wore cotton house dresses, kept her hair in a bun, and she had just worked all her whole life, and she had, as far as I can see, no matter where I looked, there was no sin about her. And she inspired me to think about what I was doing with my life and to be concerned about other people and what they were doing with theirs. And I think she was a lovely woman, and she's certainly a saint.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ooh. Got one here and I got one over there.
From the Audubon Church, I've got to say that it was Harold Carlson. He said to me, when you have to work church, you have to know what's going on in the church. And he was my mentor. He pushed me to do a lot of things. But then also, Bill Gary's mother, I can't think of her name right now, but I helped her in Sunday school. I was her assistant. And then Elda was another one that was a big mentor of mine.
You also need to know that Dave Sharp was originally ordained to UB. You should know that. Somebody over here?
We wanted to honor his great uncle Roger Mann and how he interacted with them whenever they were together and how he inspired him to, how'd you say it? Go for your goals.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Why not? Since you got the microphone already. What? You can't say his name if he's here.
Can you take that?
Okay.
He inspired me to be a director, and he directed Descendants and High School Musical. That's all I know.
Anybody else? Oh, okay. You got the other half of the church yet.
I think, when I think of a mentor, and following in her footsteps was Mildred Geiger, who was a member of this church for many years, who was treasurer for many years, and would take the money home and put it in her refrigerator overnight so that she could write it the next morning. Now, I've never done that, but I have written a lot of checks. But she would do it all. She counted the money, she wrote the check, she did everything. Besides the Sunday school and teacher, and she left money to the church. She was just a grand lady, many, many ways. Not only church, but in other community work.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, along in that same family line, Lucy Geiger was one of the... It was very impressive to me. She was a Sunday school teacher for years. How she managed to climb up into that balcony, I don't know. She did it every Sunday. But just the way she led her life, and I was in different organizations with her, and when they said Saint, hers was the first name that popped into my mind.
Anybody else? Oh, I got one here before you go.
We moved here in 1977 and we started Fairview Church. And it was Flossie Campbell and Ruth Blake.
Anybody on my way, Wendy? Okay.
They were kind and very loving.
Thank you. Anybody else on my way to Wendy? Because Wendy's going to buy us something. We don't get there. Anybody else? Oh, Daniel, this is a big church. They won't be able to hear you over there.
I guess my most influential saintly person in my life was Lily Palmer, and a lot of you know her. And she always amazed me. I could never figure out why she was with my grandfather. His brother was in the circus and the carnival, and I never could understand it. She was so opposite. So I always thought she was saintly for that. But when I was in junior high, and as some of you people know, you wore bib overalls. My mother was aghast at bib overalls on. My grandmother was always diplomatic. Why, I think those are sensible. They keep your back warm. She always had something positive. And at her funeral, all the grandkids that were here always felt like they were the favored one. Everyone said that. And I always remember I called her up and I'd say, "Hi, Grandma, this is your favorite grandchild." And she'd say, "Oh, is this Terry?" You know, so you couldn't get her rolling at all. She spent a lot of time in this church, too.
Well, thank you. To close, I just want two things. First of all, I told you I was going to remember some more saints, and I think about a group of saints that I know, that I have to admit, when I first met this group of saints, I didn't quite know what to do with them. They were different. They seemed to find pretty buttoned down, structured type A concrete style of leadership to be pretty darn unleadable. Not a bad thing, because they kind of did their own thing, but I did what every good leader should do when they don't know what to do. That's shut up and watch. And I shut up and I watched this church year after year fill with people for various kinds of fundraisers, and year after year fill with in-gathering kits and other mission initiatives. Year after year fill with food for the food pantry. Just the most creative, fun-loving group of Christians I've ever been a part of. And none of it has to do with me. And that's probably the greatest thing. And of course, I'm talking about Christ United Methodist Church. And it has been my pleasure and my privilege and my honor to be your pastor for the past 7 years plus. And hopefully it would be continue to be my privilege, my pleasure to continue to be your pastor as long as God and the bishop wills that to be the case. October is Pastor Appreciation Sunday, and so today is Congregation Appreciation Sunday, and I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your ministry. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your spirit. And if sometimes your creativity makes me seem a bit reluctant, a bit befuddled, be patient with me. You are a wonderful body of Christ. You are a wonderful body of Christ, and you will continue to be so. And my challenge to you today is to continue on, to continue to support the church with your love and with your service and with your generosity. That you would pick up these stories that we heard here today, that you would make them your own, that you would carry forth and project the church forward as much as you're able into the coming years. And I know that if you're willing, it'll happen. Because I know, here's what I know, after being here for 7 years, there's nothing that this church can't do. There's nothing that this church cannot do. Because I've seen you do it over and over again. And with God's help, we will be here for a long, long time, if you're willing.